Just when the day is winding down and you're ready to go to bed, the Chicago Bulls will always break news as Patrick Williams intends to sign a 5-year, $90 million deal to stay with the Chicago Bulls. We'll talk about all that and more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. So just as, like I said, everything's winding down, Shams Charania breaking news. Patrick Williams intends to sign a 5-year, $90 million deal to return to the Chicago Bulls per league sources. And I know what people are, a lot of people who have thought about this in the past, $90 million for Patrick Williams. It's not bad. It's similar to kind of the $18 million a year. It's similar to players who have been like him in the league, who you're hoping in the future, still young, still have a lot of upside. We're going to give him an upside contract. It's just where we're at in the CBA and different things like that allows Patrick Williams to make more money. But I think here's the thing that you really take away from this is the Chicago Bulls are legitimately all in on the youth movement by signing a deal like this for Patrick Williams, especially with a lot of the young pieces that they have on this team. And they want Patrick Williams to be a part of that. Now, you guys know I'm not a big believer in the future of P. Will. I'm somebody who believes that he's probably more than likely going to be a mid-level veteran throughout the NBA. I don't believe he'll ever be the number 4 overall pick, but for a mid-level veteran in the NBA right now, that is not a bad deal, right? Malik Monk out there getting 19.5 right now, and not to say that Malik Monk isn't a better player than Patrick Williams. He 110% is, but Patrick Williams is still a very young player, 22 years old, still has a lot of time left on his career. There's still a lot more upside. And by the time the CBA continues to move in the upward trend that it has been on, this deal will feel like nothing on the books. I think that this is a good signing for the Chicago Bulls overall. And the fact that you've got a young player on a controllable contract, $90 million is nothing. It's a contract that you absolutely can move at any point. This is not a bad signing for me. And I am not the P. Will fan, right? Y'all know me, right? Like, I'm the first person probably in all of Bulls media to say this young man is a bust. He will never live up to the expectations of being the number 4 overall pick, but that doesn't mean that he can't live up to the expectations of being a 15 to 18 point per game guy, a solid defender. The injury concerns are valid to me. He's been very up and down injury wise. That would be my biggest concern with the signing of P. Will. But if he's able to stay healthy, I mean, you've got a guy who on some seasons he's been down, and the seasons he's been healthy, he's been able to play all 82 games. I think he played 81 of 82, something like that. Like, he was one of those guys where you saw him stay on the court for a good chunk of time. So I'm not mad at this move by the Chicago Bulls overall. I think that here's the part that does excite me about a signing like this is the biggest signal that you're all in on the youth movement. This is because you don't sign Patrick Williams to a $90 million deal and then say, go sit in the back of the room and wait for Zach LaVine to leave and wait for DeMar DeRozan to leave and wait for, right, like all of these guys to get the heck up out of here. That's not the conversation that you're having if you're re-signing Patrick Williams to this level of money. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments below. I'll be down there as well. Do you like the signing? Do you like the fact that Patrick Williams has been re-signed? Do you think the Chicago Bulls should have just let him test free agency and be gone at this point? Are you completely out on Patrick Williams? I think that's the difference between me and a lot of people, though, right? Like, I'm not completely out on P. Will as far as what his career can be. I'm out on him being the 4th overall pick. Right? You shouldn't have taken him 4th overall. There's a ton of players better. Maybe one day he will prove me wrong. He's still very young. He still has a ton of opportunity to do so. Maybe one day he will absolutely prove me wrong. But at this moment in time, I just feel like P. Will is not the guy that you're looking for at that top level price. But you see, you didn't pay that top level price to keep him around here. In fact, he actually got less than what me and Hayes had talked about over on Locked On Bulls. We were like, listen, don't be surprised if this guy comes away with 100 over 4, right? Getting him for 90 over 5, not a bad deal at all. I think this is something that Chicago Bulls actually won the day on. You've still got a solid defender in the building. You've still got somebody who's young that you can continue to develop in the building. I like the fact that they're not giving up on their young guys, but how about we start to get these guys moving in the right direction? You really, now with the money locked up now, with Patrick Williams being paid and being the highest paid of these young guys, right? Remember, Kobe White's going to get his contract restructured. Ayo Dosunmu, they just signed their deals last offseason, and so they're at the $10 million range. Patrick Williams getting the highest of all of these, and he's produced the least out of the 3 players. So take that for what you will. I'm just saying, you now have to, this is AK saying, listen, I believe in you. I think that you're the future of this team. I think that maybe we've given you a little bit of a raw deal. You have to go out there and make it work now. And I think the addition of Josh Giddey, you add that with Kobe White, you have Ayo Dosunmu coming off of the bench, taking over that Alex Caruso role. I think that that does play into what the Chicago Bulls want to do as far as how you're going to have the guards distributed. You also just go out and get Matas Buzelis. I think that that's a really good get for you. He's a guy who, listen, if he shot better legitimately, this is not a surprise to say he's the number 1 overall pick probably coming into this draft. And the fact that he sticks with the hometown Chicago Bulls, the fact that we know that the Bulls have improved. Let's say this. The one thing we can say, Peter Patton has improved players' shooting percentages. He has not improved how much they're taking the shots. That falls on Billy Bubblegum Donovan, as Hayes likes to call him. But the fact that he has improved players' shooting percentages since his time being here, I do think that that's something where you look at a guy like Matas and, okay, we bring you in. You've got P. Will also on here. You feel like you're in good hands development-wise as far as shooting goes, and hopefully moving forward, you see some of these players start to develop and the scheme adjust around them. That's really what it comes down to. I think that Kobe White's a good 3-point shooter. I think Ayo's a good 3-point shooter. I know P. Will's a good 3-point shooter. He's just got to take them, right? But the scheme has to adjust around these young guys, and I think that's why they want to go with this youth movement, to kind of move some of these older guys out and say, listen, you guys get the heck out of the way. Let them do what they do. Now, for me, you sign P. Will to a $90 million deal. He is a starter. You're not taking him out of the starting lineup. So where are you starting him at? This is a very important question. And this is why I keep asking the question on how much does Matas weigh? How much does he weigh? Because if he is 6'10", 187 pounds or 190, whatever it was, that's a very different player than 6'10", 210, right? Still a slight frame, but he can go out there and he can play power forward. He can bang with a lot of those guys, and P. Will can play the 3, and you've got a solid lineup. And P. Will, vice versa, can defend however you want him to defend. But to me, Patrick Williams needs to be your wing on this team for you to see success with him moving forward. I think this is why you're letting DeMar DeRozan walk. This is why you're trying so hard to move on from Zach LaVine. There's going to be a lot coming from this. Let me double check just before I end this video to make sure there's no other news. Last thing that we got from Casey Johnson on this. So Casey said 2 things here. He said Bulls offered roughly $16 million last year in rookie extension talks per sources. Williams was seeking to get a DeAndre Hunter extension, so roughly 22 per sources at that time. This is why signs always pointed to an easy extension. Negotiations had already taken place. Also says Bulls youth movement continues with Patrick Williams set to join Josh Giddey, Matas Buzelis, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, while management shops Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan talks on hold as of last week. We will see what this all ends up working out to be, but at a minimum, Patrick Williams is remaining here with the Chicago Bulls as he intends to sign a $90 million deal. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. See Red Nation. Stand up. Peace.